Titan shirt on because season 4 continues on Sunday, which I wanted to have Tony on and have a discussion, but he's busy, like, living in real life and stuff. But I'm not alone. It looks like I'm alone, but if you listen here, say hello.
What's up, man?
Hey, so yeah, we're gonna do it on the phone because I don't want to fuck with Discord, and B, I felt like we need to get an episode out. It's been a couple weeks already, so I want to get more content out. Plus, not to mention, next week, hopefully, fingers crossed, behind me here should be filled in. We should be getting our display cabinet. We're gonna hang up some posters. Or some pictures. It's gonna be dope. So hopefully next week we actually look like a studio kind of thing.
One of these days we'll be professional.
We're working on it. We're getting there. So how you been? What's going on in your world?
Well, I should tell everybody the whole reason I'm not there is because there's a corona outbreak at my job, and I didn't want to get you and the fam sick.
Well, we appreciate that. For sure.
And but I tested negative, but you never fucking know, man.
Well, I respect that because some people, don't respect that. So I appreciate you.
You got two little ones at home. That's the last thing I fucking want. Fuck you, but
Yeah. Definitely, fuck me for sure. But yeah, so let's get started. I'm gonna try to. I've got a lot of like filler bullshit to get through, so hopefully we can kind of condense this. I'm thinking, because it's old news, so hopefully we can kind of squeeze it down, get in and out about an hour 15 or so, unless we get on a rant, which is we're known to have it. But a couple fun facts. When I wrote this down, this was true. Obviously, this has probably changed since then, but this season, Tom Brady has thrown for 36 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. I know for a fact that 11's gone up to like 12 or 13. The touchdowns have gone up too, but regardless, he's 36 and 11 this season. In Aaron Rodgers' last 39 starts, he's 96 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. Bro, he's doubled him up, more than doubled him up in touchdowns with the same amount of interceptions in 39 starts. It's taken him 39 starts to equal the interceptions. That is crazy.
In these last two seasons alone, Tom Brady's had crazy weapons. Although, speaking of crazy weapons, so Antonio Brown just lost his goddamn mind.
Well, I forgot to make a note on that. I'm glad you mentioned it. We'll dissect that real quick. So it depends on. I don't want to believe in Antonio Brown strictly because he's an insane person. But if you listen to, if you read his story and what he said, it makes a lot of sense. Like, what he's saying not justifies his behavior because there's no reason you should ever act like that. But it does make sense why he got upset. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For those of you who were living under a rock, last Sunday, AB was against the Jets. AB wasn't getting the targets he felt like he deserved, which is odd because his initial argument was I wasn't getting targets, so I was mad. And then his statement after the game was I got mad because I was injured and they were trying to make me play. So which is it, though? Because you can't be mad about not getting targets and it's that they're forcing you to play. Because if they're forcing you to play, you don't care about targets. You're just trying to get through the game. So, off rip, he's full of shit?
Well, I heard a third one. I heard that, so apparently he was close to getting an incentive bonus, and they didn't want to give it to him. Which, from what I heard, it was only like $300,000, and I was like, dude, it's the NFL. That's chump change.
Well, you're close. So he was close to getting his incentives. He's actually got $2 million in incentives he can hit by the end of the season.
Okay.
One of the incentives might be $300K, but a total of the incentives is $2 million. And he, according to Adam Schefter and the GM of the Bucks, he went to them last week and asked to have his incentives guaranteed. The Bucks said no. Then in this game, he would have needed like 400 yards or 300 and some yards over the course of 2 games and like 40 catches or something insane. Maybe not quite that high, but he needed some decent numbers over the last 3 weeks to make his incentives. And Brady he threw him like 15 targets the week against Carolina, so he was trying. And so I think what happened was when he wasn't getting the targets he felt like he deserved. Now, granted, in the first half against the Jets, he got 5 targets and Gronk got 10. And AB was in the locker room talking to Brady like, "Oh, Gronk's your boy again, huh? Like, oh, you're back on Gronk now, right?" And yeah. So he was 5. I'm sorry, I got distracted. 5 attempts 5 targets is not that low compared to the 10 that Gronk got. That's really not that bad. I don't know why he was bitching.
2 for 1.
Do what?
2 for 1.
Yeah, but I mean,
32, you got 1.
right, and he got three catches for like 21 yards, or 26 yards, and 1 catch went for 20 yards. So it's like he was getting a lot of dump passes. So I mean, maybe he was. I can see what, as a receiver, I understand wanting the ball, and obviously he takes that to another level. But then you say you're not going to go in the game because you're playing injured. You realize that that's what's hurting your play in the first place. So you should lead with, I'm hurt. It doesn't matter about targets. You should have stuck with, I'm hurt. People will be more sympathetic that way.
And then I heard that him and Bruce Arians got into it on the sidelines.
Correct.
That was like the final straw.
Yeah, so I guess if you listen to AB said he's not going in the game because he's hurt. They know he's hurt. Bruce Arians came over, said go in the game. AB said, I can't, coach, I'm hurt, I can't go. Bruce Arians told him, you're fucking done, slashed his throat, said you're not playing anymore, so AB acted a fool and left the game. Bruce Arians said, I called for the personnel that had AB in it the whole game. I watched him wave off his receivers coach and the offensive coordinator. I went over and was like, AB, what's going on? He said, I'm not playing, I'm not getting targets, I'm not going to go in the game. Bruce said, please go in the game. He said, no. Bruce said, you're fucking done, you're not playing the rest of the game. Then AB acted a fool. So there's some embellishing on AB's part, which is kind of what he does. Which again, I don't.
Who do you believe is my question.
I don't believe AB.
Right? Like I don't. Based just off his track record and his
right.
history, it's really hard to believe anything that comes out of his mouth.
Exactly. And even if Bruce Arians did do that, it doesn't give you a right to take off your shoulder pads and jersey and whip shit into the crowd. Obviously, he wasn't trying to hurt him. He was like giving them his gloves or whatever. But and you were injured, but you were doing jumping jacks shirtless in the end zone. Like,
and you ran.
Yeah, I just.
You're fucking full of shit.
And some of the stuff he said makes sense. Like he posted alleged messages from Bruce Arians. Because his whole point was they didn't know. Bruce Arians claimed he didn't know he was hurt, which is a real thing. Bruce really said he didn't know AB was still hurt, which is weird because he missed like 8 weeks for his ankle injury or 6 weeks with an ankle injury. And AB was like, my ankle injury is super severe. We talked about it before the game that I might not be able to go. AB said, that's fine. I know you might not be able to go. Just call me, blah, blah, blah. And he posts these screenshots, but the first message in the screenshot from the alleged Bruce Arians number is Bruce Arians saying, hey, it's Bruce. Like, don't you think you know your head coach's number? Like, don't you think you would know if it was him? So I think the text messages were fake to begin with, but then, like, he was talking about how severe his ankle injury was, and the Bucs GM came out and said, we knew he was in New York because he was at the Brooklyn Nets game, remember? And they said we knew he was in New York, and we scheduled him 2 separate appointments with doctors in New York to get his ankles looked at because he was claiming his ankle was more severe than we knew about. And so the Bucs got 2 appointments set up, and he skipped them both. So, yeah, it's not a good look for AB. I obviously don't trust what he said. He did come out and flame Tom Brady. He was like, Tom Brady only wanted me on the team because I'm good at football, and he was trying to take advantage of me because he knows I'm good at football. First of all, AB, everybody else knew that. I'm surprised it took you this long to get there. And he was like, you guys praise Tom Brady for doing all these heroics himself when really he can't do shit by himself. And I'm like, God damn. I mean, you're right, but I don't feel like you should be saying that. Tom Brady was literally the last bastion. He was the last person sticking up for AB, and AB just said, fuck you.
Which is crazy because neither one of us like Tom Brady, but again, we're in a position where it's like, yeah, but like, he was it, bro. Like, that was the last dude you had.
Bro, he's not getting another shot. Tony, shout out to Tony, was asking me if I believed him, which I said if it's true, like the bullshit that Arians was saying, get in even if you're hurt, blah blah, and all that. I was like, even if that's true, he still shouldn't have acted a fool. But obviously, I think it's bullshit. And he asked if AB will get to play again, and I was like, no, I don't. I think he's done. Tom Brady literally was the last hope. Because Bruce Arians, when they asked about it when he first signed there, that offseason, Bruce was like, nah, we've got no use for him. He doesn't fit in our locker room. He'll mess up our chemistry, blah, blah, blah. It's fucking 6 months later, well, he's on a 1-strike policy. If he fucks up, he's out of here. Fucking a year later, he has fake vaccination cards and Still, Tom Brady's like, yeah, but he can play. So AB was like, when it was a one time thing, except for when it wasn't a one time thing. So Tom Brady was literally kept you in the NFL for an extra 2 years, and you said fuck him. So AB's gone as far as I'm concerned.
The whole thing just the fact that he was acting like a whole asshole. Like, okay, so in your mind, right, you're quitting on Bruce Arians, if I believe your story right?
Yeah.
No, man, you're quitting on your teammates. You're quitting on your team.
Right, and I thought the same thing, but if you listen to what he said the team quit on him, I didn't quit on my guys. Bro, what are you talking about? You left in the middle of a game.
Yeah, did everybody on the team leave you on the sideline and they all acted a fool? No, man, it was you.
It was just him. But,
He needs to get help.
I mean, he's clearly got some. I'm not a diagnoser. I'm not going to diagnose him in any way. But he obviously has some form of mental health issues. I'm not saying it's CTE or whatever. A lot of people say he hasn't been the same since the perfect hit. That's not true, because as a rookie, he was getting into some trouble, and the veteran players were saying you can't pay this guy because he's just gonna double his attitude. Like it's gonna put him more. You're gonna be more of what you already are, and he was already a diva from Jump Street. I will say that maybe he's got some sort of like personality disorder, like Brandon Marshall or something like that. I don't know, but he's clearly got an issue. So I hope he does get help, because clearly he needs it for sure.
He kind of strikes me. Again, I have to agree with you and kind of take what you said. I'm not a mental health person or anything, but if I had to guess, bipolar comes to mind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he swings so crazily, and the other thing is, like, when he was on his literal, like, when he first signed there, and you didn't hear about him for a year, okay, no big deal. But then when you come into this season, and the receivers have been in and out of the lineup. Godwin just went out for the season with an ACL. Evans is trying to recover for the playoffs because he's got a hamstring. AB was kind of like the best receiver they had left, and so he felt entitled. He felt like the Bucs had to have him, as opposed to when the year before he was just a luxury. And so I feel like the more power he got within the team because he was needed, the more his attitude, you could see it start to grow. You know what I'm saying?
His ego got out of fucking control.
Yeah, and that's
all over again.
And I will say it's a little disrespectful that people were comparing him to T.O. Terrell Owens didn't miss meetings. He never walked out of games. Like, yeah, T.O. had an attitude problem, but he always played hard, and he always gave it his all. He was always at practice. AB was literally live streaming during the post-game speech after a game. Like, some shit you just can't do. So comparing him to T.O. is a little bit aggressive in my opinion, but I can see why, because they're both kind of like divas. But either way, it's fucked up.
Give me T.O. all day, every day.
Dog, every day, and twice on Sunday. Matter of fact, I'll take him for the 1 o'clock game and the late game. I don't want AB, man. But let's move on. Talk about some. I got some cool fun fact. Well, yeah, I guess I have some cool fun statistics for you. So Aaron Rodgers passed Brett Favre a couple weeks ago for most touchdown passes in franchise history with 443. Brett Favre threw 286 interceptions while throwing 443 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers has thrown 93 interceptions. That's more than 3 times fewer interceptions with the same amount of touchdowns. That's fucking insane.
It is insane, but there was something. I think that was the draw of Brett.
Oh, definitely.
Like, he was a gunslinger. That motherfucker was gonna whip it. Didn't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, and because he thought his arm could make it through anything, no matter the coverage, which I respect. And I'm not like bashing Brett Favre, because I know going in that's what I get with him. But that's a wild number. No, same amount of touchdowns, 3 times fewer interceptions though. That's like. Yeah, that's just bananas, bro.
No, and I'm not saying. I'm just saying, like, that was the draw of Brett Favre. Like, that was.
R.I.P. John Madden. Huge influence, obviously, in football. The video game. My first football video game was John Madden 2001, and I've been playing it ever since. Damn, 20 years ago. Gross. So he passed away unexpectedly a couple weeks ago. Very sad. Prayers up to
Betty White, bro.
Yeah, Betty White passed away last week too. just insane. 2022 is starting off with. Although to be fair, Mad was in 2021, but so is Betty White technically. But yeah, hopefully 2022 can have a more positive swing. I saw somebody say Betty White was like Gandalf against the Balrog, and 2021 was the Balrog, and Betty White was taking care of 2021, so that 2022 could be better.
If she comes back more powerful than ever, then we're all good, bro.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a possibility. But yeah, it's some sad times. Hopefully we can get through. I mean, obviously people are gonna die, is what happens, but hopefully the rest of the year can be a positive instead of the negative, which is where it's starting. There are lights outside the house right now, not my house, but like down the road I can see them. Hopefully everyone's okay. But I wanted to do another fun stat here real quick. So through 2,266 career pass attempts, which is what Mahomes was at when I took this little screenshot here, Dan Marino had 159 touchdowns to 72 interceptions. Mahomes is at 147 touchdowns to only 37 interceptions, which is the lowest on this list. Aaron Rodgers had 138 to 41. Brett Favre was at 120 to 68, which is disgusting. The other notable one was Tom Brady was at 106 touchdowns to 56 interceptions, so about 2-1. And then I would say this is very shocking. John Elway was at through the same amount of pass attempts that Mahomes has. He's at 89 touchdowns and 82 interceptions. That's terrible.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he was that poor at the time. Now, I'm sure that's early in his career because obviously he didn't really come into his own until that Broncos team got better around him. You know, they got sharp and they got a couple of those receivers on the outside. But still, that is a terrible. That's the most interceptions on the list. Actually, Peyton Manning has the most interceptions on the list by 1. But see, like Peyton Manning had 1 more interceptions with 83, but he had 114 touchdowns, so he had 20 more touchdown passes. More than 20, 30 more touchdown passes. That's
a lot of people forget Peyton had a rough rookie year, bro.
Yeah, he had what, 22, 23 his rookie year?
Yeah, it was like 26 interceptions, bro.
Yeah, it was bad. But I mean, you could make an argument he's the greatest of all time over what's his name. Okay, so another crazy stat. I know. Here's the other thing, right? So I want to, before I say the stats, like talk about this, I want to preface it by saying, you know how I'm tired of people praising Tom Brady. Oh, he's 44 and playing so well. I'm gonna keep the same energy for LeBron. LeBron James is a goddamn freak of nature. Every tweet of him after a good game doesn't have to say he's 37. We fucking know, okay? Stop saying it. He's old and great. Leave it alone.
We forget.
And not only that, it's frustrating because you should just marvel at him being great regardless of how old he is. Because these games he's strung together the last couple weeks is good for anybody. Fuck the age. It's really good. Yeah, I know you can say the age makes it like more impressive, but I don't feel that's not true for me. You need to stop talking about his age. We get it. However, in 2004-2005, his second year in the NBA, he had 50% completion percentage, 27 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and a block a game, right? This season, he's averaging 27, or technically 28 points a game because it's 27.6, so we round up here. 28 more points per game, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals a game. He's literally averaging the same numbers 20 years later almost. That shit's wild. Now, I know I just got done shitting on him, talking about how old he is, but doing it for 20 years consecutively doesn't make any goddamn sense. The fact that he's still averaging his career averages don't even make sense, bro. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, to me, and that's why I don't want to hear anything about age. It'd be one thing if, like, he'd fallen off.
And then come back.
No, it's consistent. That's why I want to hear about age, man. It's just longevity is what I want to hear.
Yeah, he's here for it, dude. I love the way he's playing. Russ, I feel like Russ gets a lot of blame. And here's the other thing that we'll talk about here in a little bit because I got some Nets stuff I want to talk about. But Skip's whole spiel is, Russ is running away with a turnover lead in the NBA. James Harden hasn't played as many games. Harden would have more turnovers. But since James Harden's missed three weeks, he doesn't have the same turnover. So it's just an annoying talking point. Like, Russ obviously isn't playing great, but it's never as bad as people say it is.
They've always ignored James Harden's fucking turnover problems.
which what we did with Russ to start with. When Russ was averaging triple doubles, we didn't look at the 5 turnovers, 6 turnovers a game he had. We didn't look at that because he was the first person to average a triple double since Oscar. So he got a pass for that, and rightfully so, in my opinion. Like when you do that kind of shit for the first time in forever, you get a little pass. But obviously now it's clearly hurting the team, like costing them wins.
So is he just trying to force things? Or he just do dumb shit?
No, he just does dumb shit. I think it's twofold. It's not. No, actually, I don't. I think it's just one thing. He wasn't like. I wouldn't say he's forcing things. I think that's just who he is as a player. He'll go jump up in the air like he's gonna lay it up, and then just throw the ball to where he thinks someone is and turn the ball over. I feel like his court vision is awful, and his hands are. He can't dribble the goddamn basketball to save his life. It's pathetic. He just has a lot of turnovers like that.
Bro.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. But I mean,
slow down a little bit. I think he'd be much better of a basketball player. Somebody could teach him to slow the fuck down, just not all the way.
Right. Well, and part of it is
run at 100, bro. Run at 95. I bet them turnovers cut down.
That, and also, I think he's lost a step as a whole, though. So not only is he running at 100%, but his 100% isn't what it once was. So, like, when he would blow by a defender 3 years ago, now it's not a blow by. The defender sticks with him. He loses the ball. He's blown. There at one point this season, he had 13 or 14 turnovers and 25 missed layups, or what are considered layups, in like a 2-week span. Yeah, he was definitely missing a lot of bunnies. So I think his because that explosion in the dunking ability is what got him where we are, and I feel like some of that was coming.
Me, you, and Mo have always said once his athleticism is gone, he's done.
Yep. And he's losing a step. Like there was a missed dunk that was going to give him maybe a 1-point lead against the Timberwolves a couple of weeks ago. And he flat out missed the dunk. Like he blew by the guy and took off, but he didn't have the same lift, and he got blocked by the rim. Like it's just he's starting to come down a little bit. And since he wasn't able to develop a jumper early, like say LeBron or like some of these other great point guards, Jason Kidd, it's too late for him to. He's relied on the athleticism for so long that he didn't develop a jumper, and now he's shooting 30% from 3 and shit. So it's definitely a problem. The athleticism, I would say, is definitely waning. But I don't think he's as bad as people are making it out to be, for sure. Speaking of Russ, though, he didn't have a turnover for the first time in 407 games since 2016. Now, to put 407 games in perspective, right? You're not trying to turn the ball over. As a matter of fact, your whole goal is to not do that, okay?
Right.
So, let me see. James Harden has scored double digits in 411 games. So he's just barely done it longer, and he's doing that on purpose. He's intentionally going out and making buckets, and he's barely done that longer than Russ's turnover streak. Kevin Durant is at 152 games. So Russ has 4 times as many turnover games with a turnover than Kevin Durant has double-digit scoring games, which is fucking crazy. One more thing that's like Steph Curry intentionally goes out shooting threes. He has a 3-pointer made, 1 3-pointer made in 153 consecutive games. I think that's up to like 160 now. Russ had a turnover in 407. Like that goes in one of those unbreakable stats. Fucking the hits game, Joe DiMaggio, LeBron's double-digit scoring streak, fucking Cal Ripken or whatever his name was, who played like 2 million games in a row. Is it Cal Ripken?
Yeah, Cal Ripken Jr.
See, I know shit. Like that's an insane stat.
So Steph's gonna put the 3-point record in that category too, right?
Yeah. I will say though, his last month, bro, I need you to know Steph has 2 games in the last week. One game he only scored 9 points, so that breaks his double-digit scoring game. And he scored last night 0 points in a game in which they lost.
How did he score 0 points?
I don't know. Let me look up the number real quick, cause it's not great, bro. Like, can you imagine real quick? I want you to imagine a game where Russ scores 0 points and the Lakers lose. Or if, God forbid, Kevin Durant or LeBron James scores 0 points. Like, can you fathom LeBron James scoring 0 points in a game he played in?
Especially if he didn't get hurt, he played the whole fucking thing.
Yeah, bro. That's some, like, Embiid did that a couple years ago. And honestly, for me, it's worse for Embiid because he's 7 goddamn feet tall. How do you not get
You're
one?
underneath the rim, bro. Yeah, how do you not accidentally get 2 points, bro?
Dog. It's rough. Let me see if I can find Soul Warriors. Is this the game he had 0 points? Let me check. I think it was this one. Did he not play in this game? So he didn't play in this one. Let me go to the Golden State real quick. Hold on, give me a second, folks. I'm trying to find his last, because I saw it on Twitter, so Twitter could be lying to me, I guess, which is fair. Maybe it was a game they won and not a game they lost. Let me look here. Was it the Mavericks? Let's see. It might be this game. Hold on, let me see. It might be against the Mavericks. No, that was 14. Anyway, allegedly he had 0 points, and I wanted to see what his like shot selection and shit looked like. Maybe it was in a win. Maybe it was 0 points in a win, and I'm confused. Let me see. There's a win against the Heat here. Did you see Tyler Hero get in a fight?
Yeah, I don't really understand what the fuck you so mad about.
Yeah, nothing. He was being a bitch.
You got screened hard, okay? Pay attention, bro.
Dog, that shit happens.
If you get screened that hard, the only people you should get mad at are your teammates for not calling that screen out.
Dog, you gotta let him know. Let me see here.
Not getting up and swinging on this big motherfucker when his man could have fucking told me there was a screen coming.
Let me see. Where was it? No, hey. No, that's old. That's old. So maybe it wasn't today. It doesn't matter. Regardless, I read Steph Curry scored 0. Clearly, I'm wrong. But, so let's move on to actually, since we're talking basketball, I guess we'll continue on basketball for a second. Let me see. Football. Basketball. Okay, so the Lakers played the Grizzlies on December 29th. They ended up losing the game 104-99. They had a chance to win, but the last their last real chance to win the game, LeBron had the ball and he was dribbling and he kind of lost the dribble going towards the hoop. And Russ was in the corner 3 to LeBron's left, and he starts cutting baseline like he's gonna cut all the way in. He takes 2 steps in, and as LeBron's dribbling, he goes to pass him the ball, and then Russ runs back out to the 3-point line, and so obviously it's a turnover on LeBron, but clearly he thought Russ was coming in and was going to get a layup, and then they were only going to be down 1 with 45 seconds left. But that ended up obviously ending in a turnover. So it was a good game. LeBron had 37. He was 13 of 24 for the game, 8 for 14 from 3. He had 13 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. Ja had 41 points, 13 rebounds. He was 41 points. He was 13 of 27 from the floor. He was 6 of 7 from 3. He had 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, and 2 steals. He had a great game. Ended up overcoming the Lakers, right? Fast forward 5 days. The Nets played the Grizzlies on January 3rd and lost 118-104, so they lost by more points. Harden and KD both played pretty poorly. KD was 8 for 24 from the floor. Kobe. He scored 26 points. He had 3 rebounds, 6 assists. He did have 3 blocks and 3 steals. Harden was 5 of 14 from the field, 19 points. Ja had 36, 6 and 8. He shot 14 of 26 or 14 of 22, and he was 6 of 10 from 3. Nobody talked about the Nets getting beat by the Grizzlies or that KD and Harden both got outplayed by Ja. Nothing. But LeBron's old. He can't close. His legs are tired in the fourth quarter. Like, it was literally 4 days later, and the Nets lose, and the Nets are everybody's favorite to win the title. They're the number 1 overall ranked team in the East, and they get blown out. They lost by 14 to the Grizzlies, which is a blowout in my opinion. And nobody talks about it. It's just really weird to me. I waited all week for someone to say something, and nobody did. I just found that odd because LeBron played well. Hello? I think we have a bot. I think we have a bot in our chat.
Fucking be gone bot.
I mean, I don't know. Hey, shout out to you if you're a real person. They put their name is unpronounceable, and they put capital VOR.NGO. I don't know what that means. But the biggest thing I wanted to that's been bugging me, I guess, this week, is the rhetoric. Man, those lights are still over here at this house, bro. There's a lot of them.
Wait, what?
No, there's like I think it's an ambulance over here at this house.
Are you just going through it over there?
I'm not. Somebody is. So the rhetoric surrounding Baker Mayfield is that it depends on your camp. Mostly I'm calling out Skip on this, but I have never been a Baker Mayfield fan. I don't think he's that good. I've never thought he was going to be that good. I didn't think he deserved to be number 1 overall pick.
Clap.
Oh, definitely. If you redid that draft, he's the 4th quarterback taken, and that's by a large margin. Well, that's not true. Sam Darnold's pretty bad, but so I guess he's better than Sam Darnold.
Thought that kid was good.
Huh?
I really thought that kid was going to be good.
Yeah, me too. I'm kind of disappointed, but at the same time, I'm not a GM, so I'm glad I don't have to deal with that. But, so, Skip blames the coaching, he blames the receivers, he blames pretty much everything else for Baker's poor performance, and he wants the Browns to cut him so that Baker can go show what he's really worth somewhere else, and blah, blah, blah. I think that's foolish because obviously I don't think Baker's that good. But Skip's main thing was that when Odell got hurt the last 11 games of last year, Baker Mayfield was ranked the number 4 quarterback in all of football, and it's proof that Baker Mayfield was locked in on Odell, and that's why he couldn't succeed. So do you know what I did? Here's what I did. What I did was I went back and looked at the last 11 games and took the stats and stuff myself because fuck Pro Football Focus. I wanted to look at it myself. So check this out, right? Pro Football Focus gave him the number 4 ranking in the NFL over the last 11 weeks. I want to put a comma. 2 of those games are in the playoffs, so those are a little different than the regular season games, which is what I'll focus on mainly. But what they don't talk about in Pro Football Focus is what the running game did for him throughout that time. So I found the numbers for both, right? So the first game was a loss to the Raiders, 16-6. He was 12 of 25 for 122 yards. Does that sound good?
I mean, it sounds like a game.
It was not a good one. Nick Chubb, oddly enough, didn't play in that game. That's weird. Second game was a win against the Texans, who picked, I believe, like 3rd overall. Oh, they traded their picks, so never mind. But the Texans were shit last year, and they're shit this year. His stellar game against the Texans was 12 of 20 for 132 yards, no touchdowns. Nick Chubb was 19 carries for 126 yards. That's 6.6 yards a carry and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt was 19 carries for 104 yards, which is 5.5 yards per carry. But you're right, Baker's really good. Okay, Eagles. He beat the Eagles. Woo! Tough game. He was 19 of 29. Eagles. He was 12 of 22 for 204 yards. Now, I've gone 3 games. He's not thrown a touchdown pass in all these wins that he's getting. Nick Chubb was 20 carries for 114 yards. That's 5.7 yards per carry. So, are you getting the trend here?
I've always said that Baker is a glorified game manager.
Dog, and there's nothing.
He's not even glorified. He's just not given the title.
And here's the thing: there's nothing wrong with being a game manager. Tom Brady won 3 Super Bowls being a game manager. Russell Wilson's first Super Bowl, he was the game manager. Like there's nothing wrong with being a game manager. That's fine. But the problem is when you don't admit that your quarterback is a game manager, and then you go treating them like he's Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, and he's not that. He's not that. The next game was against the Jaguars. He was 19 of 29 for 258 yards and 2 touchdowns. However, Nick Chubb was 19 for 144 yards, good for 7.5, almost a first down, a carry, and a touchdown. Bro, what? Next game, against the Titans, who have a notoriously terrible pass defense. He was 25 of 33, 334 yards, 4 touchdowns. That is the best game of his season. Nick Chubb, however, did average 4.4 yards a carry and got a touchdown. He had 80 yards rushing. That's play action passing. That's what's getting Baker all these yards. Next game was a loss for the Ravens, the Monday night duel against the Ravens with Lamar. He threw for 343 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great game. However, he did have an interception. I want to go to one of his other. Wow, I'm getting really terrible feedback right now. Anyway, I won't read all the more stats because I'm realizing how long this is. For the 11 games, let's go for the 9 regular season games. He averaged 197 yards per game, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception average per game. Does that sound like the 4th rated quarterback in the NFL? Nope. Now, the last 2 games, quote unquote, that they included, he had the game against the Steelers was 21 of 34, 263 yards, 3 touchdowns. Good game. However, his defense forced 5 turnovers, and Nick Chubb had 80 yards rushing. He averaged 4.3 yards a carry. He also had 4 catches, 70 yards, and a touchdown. So what I'm saying is that Nick Chubb played really well, and it opens the game for Baker Mayfield. All of this to say, Baker Mayfield is not that good. People wanting him to be that good are going to be disappointed.
I've been saying that shit about Oklahoma quarterbacks for a minute. Obviously, not including Kyler Murray. That kid's fucking crazy good.
Yeah.
But apart from them, name the last good Big 12 quarterback.
Graham Harrell.
What did you just say?
Graham Harrell. He threw that crazy touchdown pass to Michael Crabtree against Texas. The toe when he broke 2 tackles on the sideline.
I meant in the NFL, fella.
Colt Brennan.
Okay, too soon.
That
guy just passed away not too long ago.
Colt McCoy.
Okay, see, they're not even trying right now.
I am trying. Leave me alone. Listen, here's the thing. You're right. Big 12 quarterbacks and not Big 12 players in general, but the Big 12 doesn't play defense. So quarterbacks from the Big 12 have inflated numbers because the defenses are ass. And just to check this out here. So Baker Mayfield has thrown 11 picks this season. Okay, at the time I wrote these numbers down. Odell, since Odell was traded to LA, which was 7 games ago, he's thrown 8 of his 11 interceptions without Odell on the field. Now, everybody will have you believe it's Odell's fault that Baker was struggling. Baker is 31st ranked QB in the 4th quarter this season. He also has the 2nd most interceptions in the 4th quarter since he was drafted. But you're right, it's all Odell's fault. He became Odell-centric or whatever. Now, since we're talking football, I need to admit I was wrong about Joe Burrow, and I was wrong about them taking Ja'Marr Chase. I don't know if we talked about this on this podcast yet, but we were both anti-Joe Burrow, and not anti-Joe Burrow. We didn't like Joe Burrow as much as other quarterbacks in that draft. However, it's not like we wanted him to be bad.
I'll make a concession, okay? I never thought Ja'Marr Chase was going to be bad.
Right.
I just thought, especially after coming off an injury to your possible franchise quarterback, you going wide receiver instead of tackle was a bad move. But clearly I was wrong.
Same. Because I was with you the whole way.
But I mean, again, maybe it's because he's not sitting in the pocket as long. Because Ja'Marr Chase just fucking gets open.
I mean, there's that, and also, for example, he's done it 2 or 3 times. I know specifically against Baltimore, he caught a 3-yard slant, broke 3 tackles, and went 80 yards for a touchdown. Against Kansas City, he caught a 5-yard hook route, spun that bitch, and was 72 yards touchdown. So not only does he get rid of the ball quickly, he's getting it to a playmaker who can score. I think that while I still like our position, you protect the quarterback first and then you get those guys. But it does make you question if you get a receiver who's that talented. I mean, and it's crazy, right? Because Ja'Marr Chase's impact on the Bengals offense and the Bengals as a whole this season has been felt ridiculously. But last year, Justin Jefferson, who had set the rookie record, which Jamar Chase just broke, who had set the rookie receiving record, his impact I felt like wasn't felt like. You know what I'm saying? Like the Vikings didn't feel as threatening or as imposing as the Bengals do with Chase. Something Chase does, I think it's because he's more physical than Jefferson is, impacts the game more. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that and like that division, you know what the fuck's going on with that division right now too? Like that division's up in the air right now. So.
Yeah. Because the Ravens defense, they lost all 4 starting corners. They're down to practice squad corners, by the way. Ben Roethlisberger's $1 billion, and the Browns are led by Baker Mayfield. So it's a good time for the Bengals to hit their stride. Joe Burrow is better than I thought. I don't think he's going to reach the levels people think he will.
Colin thinks he's the MVP this year.
Absolutely not. No way in hell. Aaron Rodgers, listen to me. Aaron Rodgers since week 1 is 36 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
I'm not agreeing with him. I'm just letting it be known that I literally sat there and listened to this man say, dude, what the fuck we're talking about here?
Okay, it should factor in. What about wins and losses?
That too.
What about bad games? Joe Burrow threw back-to-back interceptions, like breaking his interception streak or whatever against the Bears and lost that. And the Bears are ass, and you lost to the Bears. He's lost a couple games that are and had poor performances in them. Whereas Aaron Rodgers has one bad game. It was the first week of the season after a tumultuous offseason. He got in a rhythm and hasn't broken it since. He's the MVP. Tom Brady. We'll talk more about the Tom Brady-Aaron Rodgers comparison in Bullshit Skip Bayless Says because I got some stuff on that too. But Aaron Rodgers is the MVP. Joe Burrow's had a fantastic season. He's not on Aaron Rodgers level yet. So we'll put that to the side. The Ravens officially shut down Lamar for the season. That ankle injury he suffered against the Browns, that was it. Also, just so we're clear, he suffered an ankle injury while passing from the pocket.
Yeah, that was another thing I saw. I didn't even watch the video because I wasn't trying to hear it, but somebody was, I think it was, I can't remember what his name is. He used to play football. He was talking about, is Lamar's play style finally catching up to him? I was like, all right, bro. Nope, not watching your bullshit.
I hate that shit because people are like, well, running quarterbacks. It wasn't like an RG3 play where he dove into a 300-pound defensive tackle. He literally was I guess it wasn't in the pocket. He was like rolling backwards trying to gain some distance. He threw the ball. The guy dove and hit and twisted up his ankle. But that's something that can happen in the pocket, and it wasn't on a run play when he was like defending himself. He was trying to get rid of the ball like everybody wants him to. So like, anyway, Lamar didn't get hurt on a running play, and he's going to be just fine next year when he comes back 100%. He had a rough year. He had it was really up and down. I will say the idea he can't come from behind is dead as fuck. He's proven he can throw the ball and throw it well. I think he just got a little sloppy the last few weeks of the season. His mechanics got away from him. And that happens, he's a young quarterback pressing, trying to get his team winning. He's trying to overcome all the injuries and stuff. So next year's going to be better, a bounce back year from Lamar for sure.
If they get him a fucking wide receiver, we wouldn't even be talking right now.
Done. And not that Hollywood's just small as fuck, man. He's got to be your slot. Hollywood's got to be like a third guy. He's not Deshaun Jackson level good. You got to get a big, I think Bateman is a great number 2. If you could find a number 1, and Bateman might become a number 1. I'm just saying right now he's a 2. That would be impressive. But yeah, let's go to some Bullshit Skip Bayless Says. Obviously, some of this is going to be outdated, which is why I was saying at the beginning we can kind of speed through a little bit of this. So Skip says Odell is washed up. He's no longer the receiver he thought people want to make him out to be. First of all, nobody's saying he should be number 1 on that team. If you thought Odell going to the Rams, he was going to automatically be the number 1 receiver, you're completely fooling yourself. Cooper Kupp is having one of the best receivers.
So you just don't know who Cooper Kupp is?
Cooper Kupp gets racist billing because he's white. I'm not saying he's like, I don't think. Huh?
Cooper Kupp, dog.
Yeah, I know. He's not the best receiver in the NFL, but he's definitely a top 5, top 8 receiver.
That coaching staff has figured out how he best impacts the team.
Facts. And there's nothing wrong with that. And he's putting up numbers that no one's done since Megatron. Megatron, who, in my opinion, right or wrong, probably wrong, but I don't give a fuck, is the best receiver to ever play. So Cooper Kupp's not an accidentally. He's a bum accidentally getting numbers. No, he's really good. And people want to say, well, his matchups, he matches up against linebackers and safeties more than the number one corner. Yeah, because his coaching staff is really smart and moves his ass around. That's not his fault.
They create mismatches. That's what good coaches do.
That's weird. It's almost like that's what you're supposed to do.
I will say, and I take away personal feelings about Matt Stafford or whatever, but he does fit in that offense way better than Jared Goff.
God damn, hell yeah. But I will say this. His last 3 weeks has been hot cross buns. So he needs to figure his shit out going into the playoffs because I believe he's thrown 5 interceptions in 2 games, and 2 of those are for pick sixes. For context, Aaron Rodgers has 3 pick sixes his entire career. So, just for context. But Matt Stafford, I believed that the Lions were holding him back. Like, people say, well, he had Megatron. Yeah, that was the only thing he had. Brandon Pettigrew.
Never had a running game. Never got one done.
No. So I...
Still ain't got one.
No. The Rams tried, though, but I think their back got hurt at the beginning of the season. Cam Akers, maybe?
Yeah.
I think he got hurt.
Yeah, he tore his knee up.
Yeah. So, the Rams, I think, would try. Because that's how they won. That's how they got the Super Bowl with Goff, was Todd Gurley was a freak.
Yeah.
Right? He played for the Rams, right?
Todd Gurley?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. It's been that long. What the hell is going on over there?
Well, who's he play for?
Nobody now.
Huh. Hot cross buns, dog. But anyway, let me see this.
No, his knee broke down on him, and he was never the same after that.
Yeah, he got arthritis in the knees. So Jake Paul, after a dominant win over Tyron Woodley in the rematch, knocked him the fuck out. He called out Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz and says the public thinks those guys are badasses, but the public doesn't know boxing and it's a different sport. And my thing is, no, buddy, we do know boxing is a different sport. That's why we want you to box a boxer.
Stop boxing YouTube people and washed up ass fighters, bro.
Dog. And here's the thing. Tommy Fury, which is Tyson Fury's younger brother who he was going to fight, pulled out of the fight with a rib injury and a bad cough. Okay? Not COVID, but he had some sort of chest infection. He had to pull out of the fight. He had a broken rib and blah, blah, blah. He's 7-0 in boxing. Jake Paul, I think, is now like 8-0 or some shit. But Tommy Fury's opponents are a combined 4 wins and 151 losses. So it's not like Tommy Fury's really boxing people either.
Right.
However, Tommy Fury looks like a fucking boxer. He's goddamn huge. I think it would be more entertaining than him boxing old UFC fighters, strictly because the Fury name attached to him is better. I think he's got to have some boxing skills. He's 24. He's been boxing since he could walk. I feel like he should be decent at the sport.
Okay, so let me set the record straight. I'm not saying Jake Paul can't box.
True.
He clearly has some skills at it.
Definitely.
I'm saying if you want to be taken seriously as a fucking fighter, fight somebody real. Not Ben Askren, not all these other little fucking washed up ass motherfuckers who are clearly looking for 1 or 2 last paychecks. Some real fucking competition.
I will counter with, I agree with every word you just said. Every single one. I don't think he cares.
No, you're right, he don't.
He wants the money.
I will say this, what's awesome to see now is it's already fading. Because the pay-per-view buys are dropping like fucking flies.
I will say,
I don't want to see it anymore.
To counter that, again, I'm kind of playing devil's avocados with you just a little bit. I agree. I don't give a fuck about Jake Paul. I think he's an asshole. But the fight they promoted for like 6 months was Tommy Fury. He pulled out, and at the last second, it was a guy he'd already beat in a rematch. So I feel like I didn't want to buy the fight. I wasn't going to buy either one, to be fair, but if you had to make me buy one, I was more willing to buy Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul than Tyron Woodley. So I think the casual viewer of my ilk or below weren't going to buy a Tyson Fury fight, god damn it, Tyron Woodley fight, strictly because you'd already seen him win and nobody cares about the UFC guy. So I'm gonna give him one pass on these pay-per-view buys because his previous two did over $1 million each. So on this one, he gets a pass. If it happens a second time, I'll agree with you 100%. Fair?
All right.
Moving.
Logan has the wherewithal to stay the fuck out of the ring, though.
I think it's hard to say, honestly. I think Logan boxed Floyd in an exhibition, and that was successful. He performed well. He lasted the whole fight against the alleged greatest of all time. I think he gets points for that. But again, it wasn't like he was gonna get knocked out by Floyd because that's not what Floyd does.
Mega fight, the Paul brothers. Let's do it.
Okay, so here's the thing about that, right? That is, both of them have talked about it on more than one occasion, actually. Does this end with them boxing each other? If Jake and Logan box tomorrow, Jake's gonna box his fucking face off because Logan, since the Floyd fight, has been, he's been, like doing other shit. He's not been focusing on boxing because it's not his job. The whole year before the Floyd fight, that's all he did every day. So he was ready to box. He doesn't do that anymore. Like, he just started a water company with another YouTuber or something. But if they box today, Jake murders him. I think you're right. I think at some point it will come down to a Logan and Jake fight. I think Logan would need a solid couple years. Also, I think Logan's way bigger. I think Jake's 6 foot, like 190 pounds. I think Logan's like 6'2", 215. So maybe not a whole lot bigger.
Meet in the middle.
He's got a lot longer range though too. Logan's got long ass arms. It doesn't matter. I think you're right. I think that fight does happen, and I think it will do crazy money because who wouldn't want to see that?
And then we get lucky, and the arena implodes, and they're both dead.
No, we don't want anybody to die. That's not cool.
All right, then their arms fall off, and they can never box again.
How about this? Their arms stay attached, but they get scarred and scared of the roof imploding that they don't ever show their faces in public again, and they disappear forever.
All right, I'll give you that.
All right, that.
Although I still, as much hate as I used to give about, I backed off on the Logan hate. He has at least maintained this new persona of his for an extended period of time. Like there's not one slip up.
Yeah, and
so I have come to agree that he did learn his goddamn lesson, albeit he still did one of the shittiest things.
Without a doubt. And we had this discussion on a podcast, which neither of us expected to be a discussion, matter of fact. But a long time ago, we talked about this, and you're not the only one who obviously held the Logan Paul's a dickhead, move on narrative, which is fine. I'm not bashing you for that. Clearly, what he did was an awful thing, and he should have been punished for it, and he was rightfully so. My brother felt the same way, that he's a dickhead and he's manipulated, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, have you paid any attention to him recently? And they were like, no, I haven't. I was like, do yourself a favor, just look. Just look into what he is now and tell me if you don't feel the same. And then a couple weeks later, he's like, you know what? I was wrong. I had misinformation. He clearly isn't the same person as he once was. So I respect you for saying that. And I don't want to say that Logan Paul's a saint, because it could all be bullshit. I could be full of shit and he could be an absolute dickhead. I fully recognize that. However, the outward persona, and I think part of it is the podcast he does, which is a very popular podcast. I listen to it. Which we should talk about the Island Boys, by the way. Fuck those assholes. Anyway, I think it's allowed him to be himself. Like the real, not the everyday vlogger we saw that fucked up in Japan.
Persona.
Right. You see the actual Logan Paul, and I think you actually get to see what he thinks and feels, and I think that's helped change the persona a little bit. Again, I enjoy Logan Paul. Because I never watched any of his shit. I didn't see anything from before Japan. I didn't see anything till like the last year and a half or so. So I'm coming from a place of an already changed person. So that's my bias, and I want to recognize that. So all that aside, I enjoy the podcast. I think the guests they have on are funny. I think his buddy Mike is really funny, and Mike is a super inspirational guy. Overcame a heroin addiction that almost killed him, and like he's done awesome things. He also was with Lana Rhodes for a while, which what it is. But I think they've got a good thing going there. But yeah, let's move on to more bullshit. Skip Bayless says. Skip said clear eyes, full heart that he would rather have CeeDee Lamb over Justin Jefferson.
Next.
Not
even gonna talk about that. Nope. No, I'm not doing that. Nope.
Okay. Skip said he's tired of hearing how much LeBron spends on his body. I'm tired of hearing how much Brady leads his team by himself without any help. Fair?
I'm tired of hearing about what Tom Brady does to stay in health and shape.
Yep. Alex Guerrero and the fucking...
Have you seen those stupid-ass fucking Subway commercials?
No. I don't watch TV.
You haven't seen them with Tom Brady? It's Tom Brady, Steph Curry, I think Amy Wambach.
Who? Abby.
Is it Abby? Okay. Sorry, Abby Wambach. Where they fucking, they're going around, and then, like, he's doing it, and, like, somebody's like, but Tom, I thought you didn't eat bread. He's like, yeah, but, okay. All right.
I don't watch TV, so thank God I haven't seen that because it sounds nauseating.
Face,
Who doesn't? So check this out, right? Again, I wrote this. These are older stats, but since week 1, Aaron Rodgers is 30 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, and Skip says Brady deserves the MVP because he's doing it with less help around him.
Name another offensive starter besides fucking Devontae Adams.
Yeah. I'll let you point that out because I can, but I'm a nerd. But we'll check this out, right? So, he says that Pro Football Focus grades Devontae Adams as the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. I won't argue; he's fantastic, and the highest rated Buck is only ranked 50. Now, here's my thing, right? Tom Brady has all these passing yards, he has all these passing attempts and touchdowns, but his receivers are ranked 50 by Pro Football Focus. Doesn't that sound like a Tom Brady issue?
Right.
Nobody. So here's the thing. Before he got there, Chris Godwin was the number 1 ranked by Pro Football Focus. The number 1 ranked wide receiver. Mike Evans, I think, was 4 or 5. Tom Brady shows up. Both of them fall outside the top 20.
And neither make the
Pro Bowl. Right. That's Mike Evans. Before this season, had like 8 consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards receiving, which people say is overrated because Bruce Arians and they threw the ball, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. He still did it. And now he's going to finish with less than 1,000 yards, partially due to injury, or maybe because Tom Brady's not that great. He throws the tight ends. He throws the running backs. He throws screen passes. He throws checkdowns. This motherfucker is going to break the NFL record for passing attempts in a game. He has to throw for like 500 yards to break Peyton Manning's record. He averages like 6 yards of completion or something, and people are just... Anyway, Pro Football Focus ranked A.J. Dillon as the number 2 running back this season. Check this out. Are you ready? He has 636 yards on the season. 3 touchdowns. He's averaging 45 rushing yards a game, and that dude's number 2 ranked in the NFL.
How?
I don't know how they make their rankings. As far as I know, here's what we need to get together with real quick is Skip runs Pro Football Focus, so he's making shit up to make Aaron Rodgers look not look like he has more help. Well, they have the number 3 ranked rushing attack, and AJ Dillon's not really good, except that he's mediocre, and their running game is good, but Skip is riding on Pro Football Focus to inflate these numbers and lowering the Bucks numbers to make Tom Brady look like he's doing it with less help. Now, I'll give him this.
We're the only ones that have uncovered that it's Skip.
Bro, no. There was another guy in a YouTube comment. He was like, low-key, Skip Bayless runs Pro Football Focus. And I was like, dog, we talk about this in the podcast. He definitely does. But anyway.
Bip.
Fucking Bip with his fucking fake-ass mustache and big nose. Dog.
The glasses. With the eyebrows on.
Let me see here. The Bucks currently have the 15th ranked receiving core, and Green Bay is 4th. Listen to me. Tampa Bay, at one point this season, started Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans at the same time, with Gronk at the tight end position, and A.J. Howard at the other tight end position. That's their 5. Aaron Rodgers 5, Devontae Adams, some guy named Alan Lizard, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and I can't even name their Tanyan was their tight end. So you're telling me that Alan Lazard is better than Mike Evans? No. If you ask Aaron Rodgers, you get to keep Devontae Adams. Do you want Alan Lizard and fucking Valdez-Scantling, or do you want Mike Evans and Chris Godwin? He would ship those two out of his own building.
Bro, he'd actually walk them out.
No, he would. He would hand them. He would put them in the cab himself. Moving on. So this was a discussion, an old video I saw of Skip, and it was Skip, Shannon, Chris Carter, and Nick Wright were debating about LeBron James being the GOAT, right? And Chris Carter was trying to make a point that the current greatest, for example, at the time, like LeBron James, we always say he's not the GOAT because it's Jordan. Well, who were we saying it was before Jordan? And Skip claims that he was saying Michael Jordan was the greatest since 1990, before he won a single ring. And he'd lost multiple first-round playoff series. But with LeBron, he can't be better than Jordan because he's 4-6. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you say, well, Michael Jordan was the greatest in 1990 when he had 7 first-round playoff losses? Well, I'm sorry, 6 or 5 first-round playoff losses. He hadn't gone to the finals yet. He's the greatest. Oh, I can just see it. But you can't see it with LeBron because he's 4-6 in the finals. Like, how is that your logic?
Who was the GOAT before Mike?
I think people were saying either Magic or Kareem. I think, okay. But I that's just going off of what I assume. Maybe someone was saying someone like when Magic and Bird took over, maybe they were saying it was Bill Russell and Wilt, and then it became Magic and Bird, or Kareem and Magic and Bird, and that those three, and then it became Jordan, and then it became Kobe, and then it became LeBron. Like maybe that's what happened. I don't know, but I would say probably people were saying Kareem or Magic. Because a lot of people have Magic at 2. Some people have, Skip has Magic all the way at 2.
Nah, man. I can't put Magic above Kareem, bro.
No.
Can't do it.
Kareem has... So, because people... excuse me. Whenever you debate Jordan LeBron, it always when you debate an intelligent person, it doesn't. But when you debate Jordan fans, it always comes down to, well, he's 6-0 in the finals, so he wins. Okay, if it's about championships, then isn't Bill Russell the greatest? Well, no.
Robert Horry, bro.
Okay, Robert Horry. How about this? Michael Jordan scored a lot. Did he score more than Kareem? Well, no, then Kareem's the GOAT, right? No, it's not. It's not that? Oh, that's weird, because now you start changing your object, start moving the goalposts a little bit. But I digress. Continuing some old footage. So the way this came about, right, was I was on Twitter, and it was the 2015 finals. In Game 2, LeBron had 36, 15, and 14 or some shit in a win. And Skip gave him a C+ grade. I couldn't find that video because I wanted to hear his excuse for that. But I found the ones from the series when they did, in 2016, the next season, when they did go win, come back from 3-1, right? So they were talking about Game 6 that the Cavs had just won. And Skip said the refs allowed LeBron and the Cavs to play football, basketball, being very physical and pulling on Golden State, and LeBron excels at that. However, I've also heard Skip Bayless say LeBron James wouldn't last in the 80s and the 90s because it was too physical. Huh? Bro, the fact that there's receipts on this makes me so happy. And they were talking about how, like Skip would not give any credit. He was like, I expected LeBron James to go out there and dominate the Warriors. They didn't have Zaza Pachulia. And Iggy's back was hurting, and so he should have gone out and dominated. He was like, I'm not going to give him props. The Warriors were dead from the start, and he was front running. I expected them to win that game. Bro, what? It was I was just cackling to myself and driving the car, listening to this dude make shit up because LeBron James. So and he's also acting like the narrative going into Game 6 wasn't, well, LeBron's not going to score 41 if Draymond's there. Well, he not only did he score 41 without Draymond, who, by the way, the Cavs were up in the game. Draymond was he was suspended in 5.
Yeah.
So Game 4 they lost. Game 5, LeBron and Kyrie both score 41. The next game, Draymond's back. LeBron scores 41, but it had nothing to do with Draymond. It was Zaza Pachulia. Bro, fuck out of here. They didn't even play Zaza like that because they didn't play with a center. Anyway, I just thought this shit was funny. Okay. Moving on, let's talk about so the other night, I believe it was Tuesday, LeBron and the Lakers, the Cavs. LeBron and the Lakers played the Kings. LeBron goes for a late and one, takes the lead. I think he put the lead up to like 5. And he's beating his chest, and he's talking shit to Tristan Thompson, and the Kings bench says, I'm a motherfucking problem, bitch. And he's like cussing at him, yelling at him shit, thumping his chest, mean mugging, roaring and shit, right? The narrative that next day is, Chris Broussard said it, Skip said it, Shannon Sharp said it, everyone said it. Why are you banging your chest? They're the Kings, bro. That's what it's come to for LeBron James. You're talking shit against the Kings? You're supposed to beat them. Hold on. One of the things Michael Jordan is most lauded for is making shit up to psych himself up to play a fucking Tuesday night in I don't know, Memphis or some shit. Like, he just made stuff up. He said this coach didn't like him when that coach never said anything, just so he would be angry enough to give it his best. But LeBron James does the same thing against the Kings, and he's, save it for the Warriors. Save it for the Suns when you really need it. Don't beat your chest against the lowly. Like, why is it a double standard for him? Why?
I got nothing.
Thanks, pal. All right. We're coming up on our last couple here. Pro Football Focus says Tom Brady's clearly the MVP because he throws it the most. He has thrown it 743 times. And Aaron Rodgers has only thrown it 587 times. Now, he also has more yards and touchdowns than Aaron Rodgers. However, according to Pro Football Focus, Tom Brady only has 14 turnover-worthy plays on 743 passes, even though he has 11 interceptions and 4 fumbles lost. Rodgers has 12 turnover-worthy plays, which is only 2 less, and he's thrown it 587 times. So Aaron Rodgers has a higher percentage of turnover-worthy plays, even though he has 4 interceptions and no fumbles.
I don't understand turnover-worthy plays.
Turnover-worthy plays go like this, right? If you throw the ball and the defense has a chance to pick it and don't, it's a turnover-worthy play. Like, if it should have been a turnover, for example, his receiver dropped it and bounced in the air. But
I get it, but why are we keeping track of that as a stat?
Because that's the only way to make Tom Brady look good. It's the same reason we have big time, or was it big time throw or air distance?
Air distance.
That's the one. Ooh, air distance. Well, he throws the ball really far downfield. Yeah, out of bounds. Yeah, incomplete.
Good for him.
The turnover-worthy plays piss me off because it's, Tom Brady throws the ball a lot more and only has 2 turnover-worthy plays. Aaron Rodgers has almost as many, but Aaron Rodgers has 3 times fewer actual fucking turnovers. How does a turnover-worthy play worth more than an actual turnover? It just doesn't make any sense. Finally, Skip was talking up Brady for the MVP. And this was his go-to. Tom Brady has game-winning drives against the Colts, Bills, Cowboys, and Patriots. Though they have a combined record of 40 and 24. That's pretty impressive. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that. First of all, if you have a game-winning drive, that means you were down to start with. I don't know how I feel about game-winning drives because I think they are important, but it also means that you were losing. But I digress. Aaron Rodgers has a better record. He has a better win percentage. He has fewer interceptions. Anyway, but Skip left out that Tom Brady also had a game-winning drive against the Jets. And if you include the Jets, that brings that impressive win-loss record of the opposing team from 40-24 to 44-36, which is not near as impressive. And I just love how he gave 4 teams, but left off the Jets so the record looked better. Like, it was blatantly obvious that what he was doing.
He's like, yeah, but
I have two things I want to touch on, and then we'll get ready to go. First thing, he almost called LeBron James the greatest player of all time this week. It was when he was beating on the Kings or whatever, and he said we were witnessing the greatest. We were witnessing the greatest, one of the greatest players of all time front run, like, do their thing. So this is to be expected. But he literally said one of the greatest. He almost on live TV slipped up and made it official. The other thing I want to talk about was Attack on Titan comes back on Sunday. My friend, do you have any predictions? Do you want to give me, how do you think this goes? Because where we left off, Eren was getting ready to do battle with the Jaw Titan. Marley had showed up and was ready to fuck him up. I think it was the Jaw Titan. The Armor Titan. Oh boy, Reiner Braun is there. The whole Marlin army has come to bust out Gabby and Falco. And Eren was trying to get to Scream. Well, his what's buddy's name? The Beast Titan. I can't.
Brother.
Yeah. So that's where we left off. That's where it's gonna start on fucking Sunday. What do you think, man? I want you, because they're currently, the plan is that Eren and the Beast Titan meet up, and the Beast Titan is going to activate his powers or whatever, and basically make it so that the Island of Paradise people can't reproduce, and all the Titans will just die out, and that's how they'll save the world. That's the current plan. Do you think that's how this goes? What do you think? What do you expect? What do you hope for going into this new season?
Well, what I hope for is I want to hear every episode. I want to hear at least like 3 times.
Yeah, that shit's great.
Yeah, I don't know. So the longer the show goes on, the more I'm like, I don't know who to fucking root for.
Dog, I love that, and here's why, right? That is so cool to me, because when you start out, you're like, adventure, let's find out what's beyond the walls, and then you get beyond the walls, and you're like, this shit sucks, and like, it's like negative, and then you get to the end of season 3, and or is it 3? Yeah, 3, and you're like, holy shit, they're the good guys, and the Titans are fucking poor people. That the Marlians are dickheads. Fuck them. And then Eren goes and raffle stomps Marley, pisses off everybody. Not only did he piss off Marley, he pissed off Paradise because they didn't want his ass to go. He just left and said, "Hey, you guys will come save me," and did his own shit. And you're like, dog, Eren's a dickhead. Fuck him. Marley's actually in the right. Like, I love this style of writing the show's gone on. But yeah, it's tough and Eren's being a dickhead to his own people right now.
No, I'm team Eren. He is right. Like, if you make it to where they can't reproduce, then the Titan bloodline dies.
Yeah.
So then you're not really. It's literally, there's not a good choice here.
And I don't know if you remember, but they did talk about the other option was the colossal titans that make up the walls. The founding titan has the ability to turn them back into titans, and essentially they were going to have those, it's called the rumbling, I think is what they called it, and they were going to have them kill everyone, basically. And then Paradise was just going to be free. That was the other option they had. And
to me, would it just make more sense to where everybody becomes sterile and they just can't have kids?
I mean,
who are you really hurting other than people not wanting, and they won't be able to have kids?
Yeah, bro, like, the options are so severely different. It's like, clearly one of these is the right option, and it's not that one. So, yeah, they're about to. So I read the manga. I know what happens. I finished it the manga ended a long time ago. So I know. I
hope they stick to it.
I hope so too. It'd be very interesting because from where they left off in the show, there's a decent chunk of manga left. I guess if they have a 15 episode season, or what did they have last year? Was it 20?
Something like that.
I think 20 might be too many. 20 might be about right. 20 might be about right from where they're at right now. Depending on what they cut out and leave in and stuff. But it's going to get very interesting. I'll say this. I don't think it's... I don't want to... See, I'm afraid to leave even a hint because I don't want to, like, influence your decision making and stuff. So, I won't say anything as a matter of fact. We'll just talk about it. Hopefully, we can talk about it, like, weekly on here before the next episode comes out. Kind of like we wanted to do with The Witcher, which... Are you done with Witcher Season 2?
I haven't even started it.
Fuck, man. Okay. I'll say...
So much shit I needed to do. But I did watch Shang-Chi and... Black Widow.
Oh, you watched? Did you? You said you finished Blood of Zeus, right?
Yeah, I finished Blood of Zeus.
What'd you think?
It's pretty good.
I
love Greek mythology. Although I'm a little upset that they didn't just flat out name him Theseus, because that is literally Theseus.
Same. I'm a little upset at that. I also love Greek mythology, so I thought it was really good. I love the scene where Zeus lost his shit and was just lightning bolting everything. And then
the only thing I didn't like is I hate when Greek mythology does this, because everything that ever does Greek mythology, they always do this. They always make Hades the bad guy, and it's just so fucking lazy to me.
Yeah. Hades wasn't the bad guy in this one, though.
Remember, he shows up at the very end of the episode of the season 1.
Yeah.
Saying, "Yeah, I can help you, but you're gonna have to do something for me, serve."
Yeah.
So now Hades is going to be the bad guy in season 2. That's the only thing that sucks to me is that I was like, oh, come on. Because I did ask that, like, when they were fighting or whatever, when Hera and all them, they were fighting.
Yeah.
I was like, where the fuck is Hades at?
Right, because you don't see him the whole time, and the Titans attack the Mount Olympus, which was cool. The fight scenes...
I like that style. Castle, you're right. Gives off some decent Castlevania vibes.
Yeah, that art style, yeah.
It was really good. I really liked it.
I enjoyed Blood of Zeus.
That was a good recommendation.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I gotta be honest, I didn't see the old man being Zeus to start.
They definitely played down on the rapey Zeusness of actual Greek mythology.
Yeah, they downplayed that a lot.
For those of you that don't know, Zeus is like a serial rapist.
Oh yeah, Zeus is not a good guy. Centaurs are because he literally got horny and fucked a horse.
Bro, he used to come down and disguised as a goose and rape women as a goose.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy, bro.
Zeus is not a good guy.
No, like at all. And then, like, that's why the only thing about this show, like, I felt bad. I was like, I know you want me to, like, be mad at Hera, but I'm like, how much cheating is she supposed to put up with?
Bro, for real, man. But yeah, Blood of Zeus, if you are into Greek mythology at all, I think you can find stuff that's really enjoyable, and I think you'll really like it.
It's fantastic.
I'm really glad. I was worried you weren't going to like it, but...
I loved it. It was good.
Yeah, I really liked it. But yeah, so hopefully next week, I think fitting in one episode of Attack on Titan in your week is probably doable, because they'll come out weekly, so I think that's probably doable. As for Witcher, I would say whatever you get done... we can talk about it. The Witcher Season 2, by the way, is fucking fantastic. And there are a couple moments in Witcher Season 2, I'm not gonna lie, had to change them. Had to change them pants because that shit was awesome. So,
Shaving your panties?
No, I don't wear panties. I also don't like that word.
Yeah, me either.
I don't... The way you said that makes me question you a little bit. Like... Anyway, hopefully next week we can have a new studio, new quote unquote. We can have the display case, bro. So check this out, and I want your opinion on this. So I have LED strip lights that change color.
Okay.
I can't figure out how many. There's an app I can download. I don't know how many feet are in here. It doesn't say anywhere. But 80 feet. Jesus Christ. Okay, I want to use them. However, they're not mine. The mailman left someone else's package here, someone else on my street, and we opened it because we didn't know what it was. Like I didn't see the name on the box. I thought it was like from my mom or something. And it's now been a really long time. Has the statute of limitations gone up on that? Like, should I just?
How long is a long time?
Shit, I think it's dated for before Christmas.
Oh, it's yours now.
All right, bet. So I think we should do that. I think we should hang those up next week. I want to hang up my Itachi poster. I want to hang up the other poster that you bought me. I want to get the one Tony got me hung up. I'm excited to have this display cabinet up and actually have some like statues. We got Godzilla statue I want to hang up, so I'm really excited. Hopefully it'll look different in here next time you guys check us out, man. I'm really excited.
I'm fucking geeked.
Yeah, go ahead and wear a mask at work all week and don't catch COVID so you can come over.
You're goddamn right.
All right, bro. I think that's it. We went just perfect timing for me. An hour and 20 minutes for old content. I don't really, or old news. I don't want to like talk on because it's old talking points. Next week, hopefully, one way or another, we'll do another one next week. It might be on the phone, but that is what it is. Hopefully, we can